Hi, I'm Otto Acuña, CEO of EXYGE Consulting. We specialize in back office operations and transformation, with projects across the Americas, Spain, and the Gulf region in West Asia. Today, I want to talk about something that many organizations still treat as a soft item, but that often determines whether a transformation takes off or stays in a PowerPoint: organizational culture. And I want to do it through a proven practical tool, the Competing Values Framework, or CVF. What I like about the CVF is that it doesn't rely on slogans. It gives you an operational map of how an organization actually works through observable workplace behaviors, and it connects naturally to a broader culture elements like values, beliefs, and artifacts, plus the levers leaders can use to shape them. Because culture is, in the end, how decisions get made, how conflicts are resolved, and what behaviors are rewarded, tolerated, or punished, even when no one says it out loud. CBF explains culture through two tensions every organization lives with. First, internal focus versus external focus. Secondly, flexibility versus control. From those tensions come four cultural styles, present in every organization in different proportions. First, clan, represented by collaboration, closeness, people development, and team spirit. Secondly, adocracy, represented by innovation, experimentation, and rapid learning. Thirdly, market, results, competitiveness, customer and goal focus represented. And last, hierarchy, represented by processes, quality, consistency, and governance. The key point is this: CBF doesn't label one style as good and other one as bad. Culture is a mix. The real question is, what is your current mix and what mix do you need to execute your strategy? Many transformations fail because strategy demands one thing while culture rewards another. For example, a company says, we want more innovation, but measures performance only by strict compliance, punishes mistakes, and rewards people who never deviate from the script. Then, the system unintentionally is suffocating innovation. Used as a change management tool, CBF helps you do three things clearly. First, define the starting point, not what people claim, but the pattern people actually experience and perceive. Secondly, defines the desired end state behaviors, not as a slogan, but as a target mix. How much collaboration, innovation, results focus, and control do you truly need? Third, translate that mix into action. Leadership behaviors, habits, rituals, metrics, recognition systems, and specific ways of working. Now let's talk about teams. A strong culture isn't a pretty culture. It's a culture aligned with what the business needs. High performing teams need clan traits like trust, coordination, and psychological safety. They also need market traits, clear goals, accountability, and results focus. Innovation requires adocracy, space to experiment, and permission to learn. And if you want to scale beyond a pilot, you need hierarchy, discipline, and processes so that the right behavior repeats consistently. So, CBF becomes a tool for building teams, not just diagnosing the organization. Now, let's address today's modern challenge: hybrid work. If more than half your people work remotely, at least part of the time, culture no longer spreads on its own. Before, much of the culture was transmitted by osmosis: cafeteria conversations, hallway interactions, seeing how leaders behave live, watching conflicts get resolved in real time, etc. In a hybrid environment, those signals are reduced. What remains is what's deliberate, what is designed and orchestrated. Culture can't depend on chance anymore. Employee experience must be intentional. Many organizations get this wrong because they think remote work is just working from home. It is actually a structural change in how belonging is built, how trust is created, talent is developed, and alignment is maintained. If you don't orchestrate the behaviors you want, typical symptoms show up: more silos, less real collaboration, loss of identity, emotional disconnection with the company, lots of meetings, but little connection, and what I called a ticket culture, where everything becomes transactional. So, how do you manage culture with CBF in a hybrid environment? First, clear rituals. Clear rituals. Not more meetings, better rituals inside the meetings you already have. Rituals that reinforce clan behaviors, consistent one on ones, space for real conversations, visible recognition, and rituals also that reinforce market behaviors, clear objectives, delegated ownership with simple follow up, methods that keep people focused on outcomes, and rituals that also reinforce hierarchy, standards, and working agreements so operations don't collapse into creative chaos, and rituals that reinforce adhocracy, protected time to experiment, learn, and share improvements. Secondly, more conscious leadership. In hybrid, leadership style carries more weight because there are fewer informal signals. What leaders communicate, measure, and tolerate becomes the culture. Thirdly, measure culture at a frequency that makes sense. Don't survey for the sake of surveying. You measure to get data you can act on. And you often need segmentation because subcultures matter by region, function, role, leadership level, or team. The company average rarely shows you where the real issues are. Fourth, design employee experience as a journey: onboarding, development, feedback, recognition, growth, and mobility. All of that shapes behavior. In hybrid, in hybrid environments, you either design it or it deteriorates by default. To wrap up, if your company wants to execute transformation, innovate faster, and build stronger teams, it is not enough to talk about culture. You have to manage it. The competing values framework gives you a common language and a practical roadmap. Understand your current mix, define the mix you need, and translate that into leadership decisions and ways of working. And in a hybrid world, this is no longer optional. Culture needs to be deliberate. Employee experience needs to be orchestrated because what used to happen casually in the hallways no longer happens in the same way. If this resonates with you and you'd like to learn more about how CBF and its tool OK are used in real world projects, comment culture or visit EXYGE for the full article. See you next time.